Hello, welcome to my video about Scorpios. So we're gonna struggle for light right now because I don't have any lights in my apartment besides my bathroom light. I could go in there and film against the bloody shower curtain, that could be a mood. However, I really would prefer to be able to put this camera down and film with like the view behind me, so we'll see if that's going to work. But I did a full video on Libra, and each season, maybe even more often if you guys can convince me to do one, like maybe just more often than just the seasons. But each season I do want to make a video on what that sign represents because there's not a lot of things just breaking down why we assign meanings to the signs in a certain way, and I think that that is an important thing to do. And Scorpio is one of personally a sign, it's a sign I get along with very, very well. So because of that, I feel like a qualified person to comment on them, even if me personally has no planets in Scorpio, but my midheaven is in Scorpio, which may describe a little bit of my public image, even if my personality is not like that at all. So this is the best that we can do right now because I am on the floor and I'll do a fit check after this. But Scorpio, first of all, is a fixed sign, and fixed signs are the center of their respective seasons. So with Libra, we explained how cardinal signs begin seasons and therefore are leaders, they're initiators, they're people that are taking over things. Fixed signs like Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius are in the middle of each season, so they really represent the essence of what that time of year is, and they hold firm, they're dependable, and they're steady and reliable in what they mean. They're not going to change a bunch, they're not going to chaotically switch around. Scorpio is therefore in the middle of fall, which represents a descent into the underworld. So if you're thinking about like Scorpio as a sign that definitely can represent some darkness, some like more intense topics, this is the essence of that time of year. It's not quite winter where things are just like icy and cold. It is much more the time of year where things are descending into darkness and falling down or dying, like in terms of leaves. Sorry, there is a fan behind me because it's incredibly hot in here with no AC right now. I still need to get blind and everything for the night. But Scorpio does represent the essence of fall, which is a descent into the underworld or something that is going deeper and darker into something. So on its own, that's already what it's signifying. And Scorpio is a water sign, and water signs are associated with emotions, feelings. Yes, it is cliche, but it is very characteristic of Scorpio to be in a more emotionally driven or attachment driven sign. It's not a sign that is driven by the intellect or driven by like ego, it's driven by emotions. And when I say that a sign is driven by something, I'm not talking about you with your sun in that sign. I'm talking about the pure archetype of the sign itself, as if we were to isolate that sign regardless of your entire chart, because everyone is a mixture of signs. We're in no way representative of one sign only. You have an entire natal chart of the way that these mix together and are meaningful as a whole. But Scorpio on its own is an emotionally driven sign because it is a water sign. But as a fixed sign, it holds firm. And when water is firm, what is it? It's ice. So Scorpio's nature is to persist and linger in emotional states and to represent that extreme of the human experience. Scorpio is also ruled by the planet Mars, and Mars is a sign of action, of aggression, of protection, of conflict. But as a water sign, Scorpio is a feminine sign. So by no means does this mean woman or anything to do with gender necessarily, but it deals with the fact that Scorpio is a responsive sign rather than an initiatory sign. Or rather, it is passive and responding to its environment. It's not going out to abruptly be the one defining the environment. So Mars rules Aries in a masculine sense because Aries is overtly aggressive and will go after accomplishing things with, in its archetype, like little regard for the things around it. It just kind of gets things done on impulse. Versus Scorpio is more around feeling the emotional environment and therefore taking action or being aggressive if required. So as a feminine rulership of Mars, I feel that Scorpio is often taken like sexually or flirtatiously when it doesn't need to be, because anytime very feminine, very like, I'd say a little more gentle, a little more lighthearted energy is being direct, it can be seen as something that is inherently like sexual or provocative. But Scorpio is not necessarily like this sex-obsessed sign. It does rule that area of the body, but I mean, you also like pee and like poo, like there's different, like that's a gross, sorry, I'm really like immature. But that area of the body is associated with Scorpio because it's the way that we connect deeply with others and also get rid of things. I get really grossed out talking about those things. You know that I'm just like a little kid inside, so, but that's Scorpio connection to those body parts. It also, being a feminine rulership of Mars, is not going to be the first one to throw a punch, but it will protect itself at all costs. So that's where the scorpionic meaning comes in, because like scorpions, they do not go out and just fucking sting shit for fun. They're going out there and defending themselves if they need be with one like one jolt of venom. It's how snakes are often associated with Scorpio, also vampires, because it's not like they're going out of their way to hurt anyone, but if need be, they're gonna take a very venomous, very deadly course of action. And that's kind of why you might feel like Scorpios take a while to build up to being angry, but when they are angry, the vendetta can be extreme and it will be like so intense, because at all costs, they feel extremely deeply and they want to protect that from hurting. Because Scorpio, as the most dense, most fully formed and concentrated water sign, if any sign understands the extremes of the emotional experience, it is by far Scorpio. And as someone myself with no planets in Scorpio, I will openly admit that I know that you all are going through feeling much deeper and much more attached than I could imagine. That anyone with heavy water sign is going to understand the bandwidth of human emotion very well. Scorpios in particular, still waters run deep, and they feel to the fucking core, and that is why they might be extremely private. Scorpio risings in particular have a knack for being beyond private, and I cannot tell you the amount of clients I have where if they have their camera off, I check and they are a Scorpio rising. So if you're one of the people that had a reading with me and you had your camera off and you're a Scorpio rising, don't worry, I respect you, I get you. Scorpio risings tend to be extremely private because they feel so deeply and they want to protect that. It's not really out of like, oh, I'm particularly shy necessarily. It's more around wanting to protect themselves from the attachment that could end up burning them. Because I'd say that there's nothing more vengeful than a Scorpio who like gave you their entire heart, like their blood, sweat, tears, and then they feel like you didn't care as much. In some ways I can relate to that with Capricorn placements, because both Capricorn and Scorpio are the two signs that are feminine signs ruled by a malefic. Mars and Saturn are the malefics. They represent challenge and they represent hardship. And having Capricorn or Scorpio placements can mean that you're responsive to hardship as a defining part of your life. With Scorpio, it's around being assertive or aggressive and taking action opposed to that. With Capricorn, it's more about protecting and drawing boundaries around what could be a threat. So both of them can be kind of like militaristic signs. However, they represent different aspects of that, because Scorpio is ruled by Mars, which is more aggressive, and Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, which is more protective and more fearful. But Scorpios will bite back if needed, and that is why like Scorpios have the biggest bullshit filter ever. I do not dare lie to a Scorpio. To some people, if I'm running late, I'll be like, bro, I'm like on my way, don't worry about it. To a Scorpio, I will be flat out like, I have not even left yet. If you want to like get up, give the reservation up, like feel free. Like with a Scorpio, I do not fucking dare white lie, because you know their intensity is like beyond my ability to like kind of, I can be kind of that behavior where I'm just like, oh, everyone's fine, let me just be direct and open with everyone. And a Scorpio is like no, like we must not trust, we have to be very careful, which I honor and I admire and I think is a really defining part of Scorpio. Scorpio placements tend to feel beyond deeply and retain that, and Scorpios will hold something literally till the death. Like they might forgive in the sense of like, okay, whatever, you fucked me over, I'm not gonna go after you anymore, but they do not forget. Like out of every sign, the emotional memory of a Scorpio is severe and it is very heartfelt. And I think that Scorpios can get a bad rap for being like psychos or like crazy, or like the main character of You, who's probably a Scorpio. I mean, sure, that's an extreme manifestation, but they can also be, they're not all goth, they're not all emo, they're not all sex addicts. In fact, a Scorpio is not in their core, like if someone's a sex addict, they're much more likely to be an Aries, in my opinion, or a Libra. Those signs are going to be more assertive with that. Scorpio is going to be more like attached to one person and then never gets married again if they get divorced. Like definitely not going around spreading their energy, or if they are, it's a severely like in the moment deranged Scorpio. Because Scorpios tend to guard that like severely and value their creative or their like sexual energy very, very intensely. So I would not say that Scorpios, they might be inherently provocative, but I wouldn't say that they're all inherently like sexual or even goth and intense. That's the stereotype, but that's like saying that all Virgos are organized instead of saying that all Virgos have a very categorical way of thinking about things, but that might not translate into their physical environment. Like, do you want to see my fucking physical environment right now? Like this. Please, someone in New York. Actually, no, because when I do that, it's all the thirsty. Most of my audience is women, 85% female, but I post about jokingly being like, someone help me with my furniture, and of course it's like the random males in New Jersey who are like, yo mama, I'm like, I was joking, I will ask a guy friend, please leave me alone. A Scorpio would actually probably not be in my DMs about that. A Scorpio would be way too shy and never say anything, and I would have to go up to the sad boy in the corner in a hoodie and be like, hello, yeah, because honestly I get along really well with Scorpio energy. A lot of people might think it's too dark or intense or overwhelming or like penetrative, I personally get along extremely well with it. I think that it is beyond loyal. A Scorpio does not betray you unless they think that they're gonna a Scorpio will not betray you unless they already think that mentally you have betrayed them, or they think that there's a reason to remove the intimacy or remove the trust. Like a Scorpio who's betraying you, it was not because they didn't think they'd get found out. I would argue that it's intentional because they wanted a reason to break the tie, and they might be willing to martyr themselves in their own trust. But Scorpio is also a sign where, like, if I give you my word, oh my God, I know that a Scorpio is like, they will be so broken if you don't respect that or if you don't value it. And that's that feminine rulership of Mars, which I think is so unique because Mars is a traditionally like very direct, very assertive, very masculine sign. Being its feminine version is not the active aggressor of Aries with a machete going around killing everyone. Sorry, Aries, I'm not dissing you. I love you guys for other reasons. But with the Scorpio, it's much more like, I am very protective of what the emotions I have to guard. If you fuck that over, done. Like, done. I will like fucking just like nuke over. So as a Scorpio, I want a Scorpio as my private investigator. I have a lot of Scorpios that work for me, and I appreciate that because they're direct. They're not crazy belligerent people generally. They tend to be very honed in and very private. And Scorpios above all else will hold and feel deeply and honor that to no end. Like the Scorpio employees and coworkers I have are the most loyal fucking badasses ever, and I appreciate that to a high extent. I think Scorpios and Capricorns are the original emos. Every other sign can try, but really it's Scorpio and Capricorn because they are the signs that are feminine signs ruled by a malefic, so they understand deep, dark feelings very well. People always ask me and assume I'm a Scorpio because of the red, the blood, like the intensity. Frankly, a Scorpio is gonna be in like a hoodie and corduroys. Like if they're actually true to their bone a Scorpio, they're not gonna wanna be too flashy. They're gonna wanna be like in the shadows hiding, so they might be in a fucking ski mask. But I can see why people think that because I do have my midheaven in Scorpio, and the midheaven refers to public image and your professional perception. And having it in Scorpio can be a little bit more provocative, intense, and like, I'd say that my energy is not, like I'm not badass. I'm not like this intense mind reader person. I have a ton in Leo. I'm much more just like, I want to sit around and do makeup tutorials and film 15-second videos. Like a Scorpio, and a lot of my Scorpio friends are like, how are you always in the camera? I'm like, how are you not? So I'm definitely not a Scorpio at all in my behavior, but I might be in my public perception because of also the mystery. Like, bitch, I overshare everything. There's no mystery. There's nothing left. But if you want to make shit up, feel free. I think that Scorpio midheaven also ruled by some things definitely gets me in trouble. Not of my own, like, volition or own direct intention, but of just the mystique and the darkness and, like, whatever the fuck people... Like, it's like, even though I have a Scorpio rising... Or, sorry, even though I have a Scorpio midheaven, definitely not my behavior. My behavior is not Scorpio. I think it's similar to Megan Fox. Not that I look like her, I'm not claiming to be that level of absolute amazingness with MGK. Like their Halloween shoot, I fucking love them. I am so here for the overt cringe. Like let's just all get rid of cringe and just love ourselves for the embarrassingness. But Megan Fox is a Scorpio midheaven, and she, I feel like, comes across a lot more like sexy badass sex icon. But like if you look at her interviews and her behavior, she's a little bit nerdy. I don't remember the rest of her chart, but I think she's a Taurus sun, but she's a Capricorn rising, Scorpio midheaven like I do, and like her direct conversations and her behavior are fairly, I want to say like academic or just direct. She's not like a sultry speaker like Angelina Jolie is in a way. But anyway, that's my 2 cents on Scorpio. Intense emotional experiences, the pinnacle of what it means to be loyal and to be betrayed, and still waters run deep. So shout out to you all. Like, you know, you are one of the signs I get along with the most. By no means does this make you better. Does this change my content? Shut the fuck up if you're one of the 14-year-olds. Like, I can tell you only like these signs because you talk about them. Bitch, I talk about Scorpio a lot because right now you're having eclipses in your fucking sign. If Scorpio did not have eclipses or shit in their sign, I wouldn't give a shit about mentioning them. But anyway, that's a comment for another day. Anyway, this is my fit for filming, and I'm gonna go out to some, I don't know, some VC thing that my friend is like, come out here, there's investors, because we are still raising for Ask Race. So we're in the middle of a seed round. So any chance I get to hook up with it, not hook up, meet up, Jesus, hook up. No, I'm sorry, I need a PR mess, oh no, whatever. Meet up with investors, because no, I've never, that just, well, I just thought about it. I'm not gonna do that. Anyway, this is what I'm not going to wear these shoes. I was filming in these shoes. I'm not going to wear these shoes. I'm going to wear a coat over this. It's like 65 degrees, so it's not that bad. 65 Fahrenheit. So I'm in this outfit from Finesse. I bought 2 of this skirt a few weeks ago, and I had to sell one of them on Depop. But this is a really cute like skirt with pockets, which we love, and then this top is really comfortable, and this is about it. And I'm in the blood shoes because I was filming, but I'm gonna take these off obviously and just go in like sneakers. However, this is a great filming outfit for when there's no fucking AC in your apartment, and during the daytime it is a greenhouse and you're sweating as you're doing like readings in between filmings. It's just a lot. Anyway, I'm gonna get to filming the 2023 forecast, so I'm gonna do a lot of those probably until I go to bed because I'm in a filming mood now and I'm ready to talk for a few hours. I'm not so happy about the way that this liner showed up today, but I could give a shit. It feels like a Scorpio. I need to shut up. Happy Scorpio season.